Hello YouTube, welcome to today's video. Hope you are having a great day. So today I will start a new series on YouTube, how to improve your aim in Overwatch. Now this will not be a short video, 5 tips to increase your aim and become Grandmaster instantly. No, this will be long. So long in fact that I will split it in very many individual videos. And every single one is very important. So don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the important stuff. So with that said, I want to start with the outside factors of aim. Basically how your so we develop an understanding how your training transforms into aim and what aim is, how it works. And from that we go to outside factors like sleep, like food, like sports, how they influence your aim. And then we go to the more intrinsic, finer details, how to actually apply this stuff in-game. So for today's topic, I just want to shortly talk very briefly about how your brain works when you aim, or rather how you modify your brain for it to function, to train your aim. But a disclaimer first, I'm not a professional studied person in a medical field or something. I have no clue about medicine, and what I'm about to tell you is dumbed down, shortened, to the degree where it's factual wrong. So if you want to have deeper knowledge, find another channel, go to Wikipedia, read the articles there. I also suggest you watch Huberman podcast. He talks a lot about how the brain actually works in correct medical terms from a professional standpoint of view and stuff, which I cannot do. I'm not such a thing. But with that disclaimer, let's talk about what you actually do when you aim. Basically, we start with your brain is very dynamic. Like people usually think you have like 2 arms, 2 eyes, 1 nose, and you are kind of used to this type of things. And we are like kind of pre-programmed for this type of function. But in reality, it could not be further from the truth. If I would have 3 arms or 5 arms, my brain would instantly adapt to that amount of arms the same way as my brain adapted to having 2 arms. And because every process in the brain is basically dynamically learned. And the same goes for aiming. If you aim for a while, aim now in the sense of as a function of moving your cursor on your screen, or rather rotate your screen so the target you're aiming at is in the center of your screen. This is what I mean with the process of aiming. I mean this is an active movement. Like you rotate your character until what you are aiming at is at the center of your screen. That's what I define as aiming for this course. So cursor placement and movement and all those things are not strictly within the scope of this training. And now usually what happens is, and you go into a game, you want to aim at something, and you just move your cursor there, right? And that sounds very trivial at first. What's the big deal? The big deal is you did not think I need to lock my biceps so I do not shake. I move my wrist like by 1 degree left, and my fingers a little bit up. You do not think of individual muscles. You do not think of an arm at all. If you move your mouse with your feet, or you're driving your nose, or your hand, it's exactly the same for your brain. You have a function in your brain that basically connected neurons, like the nerves. Like in brain terms, everything is called neural adaptation, neural plasticity, neural whatever. It's just the connection from your brain to your lower brain, to your spine, to your muscles, to the nerves in your muscles. It's just all nerves basically. As I said, I dump it down very much. So we just see the connection from your will to your muscle is just nerves. It's just brain. Okay, you basically now have a function in your brain. Move cursor here, right? Now, what does this imply? It implies that you do not actually think about, I need to move this specific muscle a little bit better or a little bit more precise. You learn in terms of my cursor landed where I wanted to be, in the speed that I wanted, in the precision that I wanted. You think basically about success and not success. And these terms are very depend a lot on your definition of what your success is. When are you glad that you have achieved something, and when you frown that you have not achieved something. So I miss, and now I think, damn it, I miss. And that's it. That sends a signal to your brain. You need to adapt. You need to get better. But then I go for body shots. I hit, and then I said to my brain, "You're awesome. Keep doing it." And then this process gets improved. So I get better body shots. But if I have only success, I basically do not improve because I don't need to adapt to anything. So that leads to the first point, that you kind of need to challenge yourself to adapt to something better. You need to want to have better aim, because your brain has literally functions inside that take your will and adapt your nerves, your neurons, to this will of I want to hit better. And for that, you kind of need to take the scenario, I want to click heads, fast and precise. And so we also go to the harder bots, of course, because then it gets harder to hit heads, and then the function gets more difficult to adapt. Then you get better adaptation, or you get adaptation at all, basically. So that's the important thing I want to start first. Is like your brain does not get all the context about, it's Overwatch, I need to, that's a Baptiste hero I see, and there's a Genji jumping and it has a double jump. Your brain doesn't get all those things. Your brain basically just gets the end of the signal. I should have moved my this movement was a little bit short. Next time, if you get this will, move the mouse a little bit further. And this is a dynamic process. You just need to repeat it 1,000 times, and then it gets better. Okay, but now it comes to the thing of, okay, now imagine your aim looks like this, and now someone comes and tells you, this thing crosshair placement, just keep your crosshair at head level. Then you say, okay, keep crosshair at head level. Now you say, my aim is insane now. And then you go to a game, you get slapped by an Anna, then you get jumped by Genji, then you get charged by a Reinhardt, and then your aim is here again. Why? What happened? Well, you loaded the information into your working memory, and as long as you had capacity in your working memory, it worked perfectly, right? You had aim at cross placement at head level, what you were told, and it worked, and it was fine. But then, as soon as you got overloaded working memory, because your working memory is very, very tiny, it's 3 to 5 items maximum. Not even your entire team position fits into your working memory. Because how your brain works is it dissolves complex things into repeatable patterns. Like if you want to remember a complex long number, you don't remember 5, 9, 7, 4. You remember 591, 327. Then you have remembered 6 digits that you can say. But your working memory has stored only 2 numbers. The numbers are bigger. They are not single digits. They are 3 digits. You learned a bigger pattern. You learned to save a bigger pattern. And that's also what happens in Overwatch. But that still means that your working memory is very limited. So your aim does not have space in your working memory. So how do you get good crosshair placement without having it in your working memory then? Because then you need your brain to adapt so much that it does this crosshair placement automatically without thinking about it. You need this brain space. This 5 items you have saved maximum working memory. You need to outplay the enemy. You cannot think about aim, right? So you need to understand, okay, I now have this task. I need to crosshair placement up here. And then you shoot. And every time you shoot, you say, okay, did I had good crosshair placement or did I have bad crosshair placement? Like, you don't think about hit or miss or whatever, but did my crosshair fall below my aiming line? Or was my crosshair at the correct height? Only think about this one topic. And every time you click, you reevaluate. Was I correct or was I wrong? Now, the thing is that in this scenario, you see it's actually on the correct level most of the time. So you're actually not learning very much. You kind of need to challenge your brain to a way where it requires some effort to do it correct. And if you practice this in a harder scenario, like a complex map and a complex scenario, you focus only on one thing, maybe even in-game, really play 1, 2, 3, 4, 20 games, so you focus only on crosshair placement. And then after some time, your automatic crosshair placement will get better without you thinking about it. And that's the thing you want to achieve in the end. Okay. So this was the shortcut about how your brain interprets stuff and how you get the answers very, very fast. We might come to the topics later more detailed. But now I want to basically talk about the first outside factor that is very important for training and how this works. Because we just talked about, you loaded this training into your working memory. let's write this down. So you have load info into working memory, train with info. Now what happens now? What happens now is that your brain will firstly get into a mode which is called neural plasticity. Now, neural plasticity, what does it mean? It's basically neural is just the brain, as we said earlier. We dump it down. Neural is just brain. And plasticity means it can be formed. It's physically able to change its shape. Basically, get more wrinkles. Basically, but you need to get into the state of neural plasticity first before your brain can change its shape. And you get into this mode just by the will of learning, mostly. Now, if you are below the age of 25, roughly, it's not a strict level, like exactly 25 in your first birthday or 25, so you are gone. No, roughly below 25 years old, your brain is always plastic, which means you learn incredibly fast. It means you unlearn incredibly fast. And after 25, your brain is more static, which means you need to trigger neural plasticity first. Then you learn something, and then it's more stable and saved longer, basically. And how to get neuroplasticity? As I said, you need the will to learn. So you actually need to kind of, you need the will to, I actually want to now aim better. It's simply that, okay, I want to aim better. So if you're above 25 and you really do not care about aim and you always just go and just click somewhere, you actually stop learning. You actually will not improve very much. Sometimes you will still see, if I do this instead, actually my aim is easier, and then you kind of subconsciously still get to neuroplasticity and learn it, but it's very inefficient, I would say. So if you're above 25, you actually need the will to learn. So start games specifically for the purpose of learning. Then you trigger neuroplasticity, and then you work on your training, and then what happens is neural pathways that are used are improved. What does this mean? It means if you do not use a skill for some time, the path, the connection between nerves, like a skill like aiming requires a lot of sensory input, a lot of different muscles to work, and this is a neural path that gets triggered. So it's just a bunch of your neural network that gets activated when you use this skill. So if you put your brain to a scanner, and every time you aim, this specific areas of your brain will just light up. They are currently used. And this pathway that then lights up, every time it lights up, it gets reinforced a little bit. And over time, it degrades a little bit. And so first thing is, you just want to repeat it often enough that actually your re-triggering is higher than your degrading level. So if you don't train the skill for 3 years, then it will just degrade and never get reactivated, so it gets bad, or you can imagine like dried out roots or something. Like they are still there, but they are kind of dried out, very inefficient, do not work properly. But you can relearn a skill faster than you learn it new because the pathways are already there. You just need to reignite them basically, or fuel them, however you want to say. Okay, so neural pathways that are used are improved. That's one thing. Second thing that's happened is neural pathways that lead to errors are deleted, are marked for deletion. Okay, what does this mean? Well, if you have activated a pathway, like you wanted to aim on this tracer, and your pathway lights up, like for example, you're used on the speed of Baptiste, like he does this movement, and now you aim on tracer, you light up the same pathway because you don't have the experience on tracer first, and then you miss. Then your brain will think, okay, the pathway that worked on Baptiste doesn't work on tracer, and so the pathways that are used to aim on tracer are different than the pathways that light up when you aim on Baptiste, which means that the pathways that you use to aim on tracer are getting marked for deletion. We are discussing later what it means in this video, not in another video, but in this video itself. But just remember that the pathways that are wrong will get removed. Then pathways Now, neural pathways that lead to success are marked for improvement. Now, this text is absolutely wrong. I know it sounds insane, but listen to me. The thing is, it is now, it's you don't need to remember and understand the complete chemistry and physics and biology, how your brain actually works. This is close enough to reality that if you use this knowledge and pretend as if this is true, it helps you improve your aim. You don't need to understand more. Technically, it's wrong. So there is improvement of pathways used, and there is this dopamine chain in your brain where your brain gets rewarded for correct actions. So you have pathways that improve your brain, and if it repeats the actions that lead to success. Like, you just get more happiness if you hit the tracer, shortly said. Right? But for now, we just pretend that neural pathways that lead to success are marked as improvement, and pathways that lead to failure or to error are marked for deletion. Now comes one very big thing that most people get wrong. You still did not get better in aiming. What you have done now is only marking the pathways. It's not really true. So remember the first thing, neural pathways that are used to improve, are improved. This is instant. But the other two things, the marking is not done yet. This will be done when you sleep. So your improvement from an aim training, you see only on the next day after you have slept once, or use some other deep resting method. There are other deep resting methods like meditation, and you can even trigger short improvements by just sitting there, closing your eyes, and then go again. Only very brief, only a few seconds. So you can sit here, click heads for 1 minute, just click. Notice miss, hit, miss, hit, miss, hit, miss, hit. Okay. Now I sit, lean back, close my eyes, and back to it. This very brief pause is already also working on the smart chemistry of your brain. And why? Now this distinction of what really happens is important for you to understand what you need to improve. So the thing is here, marked areas are changed when you sleep. And this is the most important and the last one. The marked areas are changed when you sleep. And this leads us to the very first outside factor that you need for your aim training is sleep. Not more training, not harder enemies, not a stronger will to live, not reduced focus in school so you have more focus in time. Not training time, no, but sleep. You train, your brain improves while you sleep. That is something you really need to understand. So sleep your 8 hours daily, every day, 7 days a week, no exception. So that's the number one thing that will help you improve, is get proper sleep. For this reason, that all these processes before are completely null and void if you do not sleep. Your marked pathways, your marking will just go to waste, nothing changes, your brain does not adapt, your brain wakes up the same as it did before if you do not sleep. Now sleeping has a few more benefits, like you get more energy, you get more motivation, you get more tilt resistance, you get higher performance. So actually the pathways that are correct are lighting up more because they are working better, basically. Which means the distinction between good and bad pathways is bigger. So, so if you are actually rested, you actually also perform better, and this high performance also leads to faster improvement. So there are more benefits to sleeping properly, but we will come to this in a different topic. So for today, for me, it's important that you get these pathways that while you train, you mark your brain for adaptation, and that is changed during your sleep. So get proper sleep, guys. And with that said, I thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. As I said, this will be a longer series where we'll talk about a lot of different stuff, and we also come to actually mechanical training. How should you actually look at this anna correctly with your eyes, so you actually click the head. We come to that. Don't worry. So then see you next time. Thank you for watching. Oh, there's text in my face. We say still bye bye. Have a good one.